With a project like layering, there is something that we need to consider called the 50-50 rule. This section of the hair touches this section of the face. So on these nails that are indicated by the gray dots on the pattern, those share nails. The two sections overlap. So we need to make sure that we are being aware of these nails and only going up 50% of the nail, leaving the top half of the nail empty for the other touching sections to share. If we turn the board onto the side, you'll see we have half of the nail empty. If we look at the side that doesn't have touching sections, I've gone up higher on the nail. So here, again, I am leaving 50% of those nails empty so that this section can share those nails. So I just want to make sure that you see what that looks like. So here, what we're going to do is start creating a layer of yarn where we're going to touch every nail one time. We're going to look at that pattern that we've got to make sure that we're staying in the shape. A lot of times what will happen is this. People will get to going, talking with their friends, and they'll start filling into areas that yarn is not supposed to go. We can adhere to these nails for the eyes. You can touch on those as a point of anchoring, or you can just go all the way across. But the important thing is that you are putting yarn in that space. We don't want to have any wood showing through. So here, I'm just kind of touching every nail one time, at least one time, and pushing it down as I go. I'm not working in any one section, and I'm pushing down. You'll see that we've kind of gotten a nice little layer down at the bottom. So we'll come up here and put a little bit in the ear. Again, no rhyme or reason. Our goal then is to create another layer or two to cover up these holes. We want to try not to duplicate the same move like this. We want to create new paths. So we'll just kind of crisscross around. I'm going to kind of touch into the eyes a little bit. It is essential that you push everything down low as you work. If you work high on your nails, what will end up happening is it will pull the nails out. Right there, that's a fun thing that I call stooging it. Just be aware, if you let the string go, that's what's gonna happen. I'm taking some odd moves. I've got some holes to cover up that I can only seem to cover up, like right here. This is the only way I'm gonna be able to cover up that hole. So I can take some odd moves to do that. When you take really big moves though, up at the top layers of yarn, they're not always the cutest to look at right here. Now what we're gonna attempt to do is to do some spot filling and just work in sections so that we're covering up little holes that we have and kind of making those bigger moves less obvious. So I'm gonna work my way down into here. It doesn't matter, this is just where I'm choosing to end. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for a nail that has a lot of room to it to start my outline. On the actual instruction sheet, it will show you a thick black outline on the section. And that thick black outline is where we're going to put a top outline. The top outline is just like what we did at the bottom, where we do an outline wrap and go around the nail. So here, I'm gonna come up, and when I get to right here, I'm working right underneath the nail head. Rather than going around the nail, I'm gonna come backwards like this to the nail right behind it, and then this will create a double outline, just like that. Now I'm gonna come up, again looking at my instruction sheet and my pattern to see that I'm only supposed to go to this point right here on the pattern. And then I'll U-turn it around and come back to where we tied on at right down here. And we're going to do that slip knot. So we'll cut our string 8 to 10 inches long. We're gonna hold it with our right hand, grab with our left, come around the head of the nail, finger on, grab through the loop and pull. And again, we do 3 slip knots. We'll take it, turn it in to the fill, grab our scissors, trim it about an inch, and then use the blunt end of our skewer to tuck that little end into our fill, just like that. Just like we did in our white section of the unicorn, we're now going to tackle the full mane. And in the instruction, it does say to grab your multicolored yarn, and we're going to use that. Keep your pattern nearby, keep the instruction nearby so we have that to reference. I am going to tie on right here at this nail. Again, it's my discretion on where I'm choosing to tie into this section. And I'll tie on the 3 times. And then use your scissors to trim. We are now going to create this outline of the mane. We already have a natural outline on head of the unicorn. So we don't need to go over this section with this yarn. I'm gonna push this knot down to the nail and start that outline wrap. Going around, looking at the pattern, making sure that I'm reading it correctly so that I create the shape to match what the pattern looks like. Pushing it down low. And now we're coming up to this ear. This can be a little confusing because there's a lot of nails. So again, I'm gonna look at the pattern and see that I need to just simply come right here like this. So I have a little section, just like in my pattern, and then the full mane, and we see the natural outline right here. Don't worry that we haven't made a move right here, okay? The bottom outline is merely there for us to reference the shape of it to stay within when we're filling. So it really doesn't make a difference right here. Now we're gonna begin that U wrapping to start doing our fill. And I'm just doing a little section fill in this area just to get myself out of it. I'm now going to start U wrapping down in here, touching every nail. So here we go. All right, look at that, it's coming to life. I'm not really paying too much attention to how this looks per se. So now you'll see that we've created these little holes. And again, we're gonna create another layer to just kind of start covering those up and being mindful of how much room I have on these nails. With this unicorn, the skein of yarn is used for both the mane in the front, the mane bang, and also on the back right here. So you need to be mindful of saving yarn. I'm happy with this. So now we're gonna create that top outline, looking at our instruction sheet just the same way. See where that thick black outline is? And start going around the nail. Using that skewer if you would like. This nail where I started the outline at, there's a lot of yarn on it. So I'm just simply moving over to a nail that has a little bit more room to tie off.